Welcome to Turkish Legal News. Today we are going to talk about student residence permit. As you know, it's a big issue in Turkey right now to get a residence permit. However, the easiest way is always the student residence permit. So, who is eligible to get a student's residence permit? A student have to enter Turkey with a valid visa, and a student needs to have an entrance stamp on his passport. Which students can apply to student residence permit? Actually, every student can apply. However, it's a big issue on visa. If the student is young, let's say not a bachelor, not a master, or not a PhD student, then the student has to get a student visa while entering. However, mostly the common way of student residence permit is at the universities, of course. So, bachelor, masters, and PhD students, they can freely enter with a tourist visa and then enroll to a university and later on apply to the student residence permit on that behalf. So, what do they need for student residence permit? University is providing a letter. We call it öğrenci belgesi, which means studency document. So, with that document, you can apply to a student residence permit. However, this is not enough. You also need an address. This address can be a dormitory of the university, or it can be a residence of your parents, but then your parents has to give a document from the notary that you are staying there by their permission. And if you do not have this, then you need to provide a notarized rental agreement to the immigration office. This is very important because if you do not state any document where you reside, then you are going to get rejected from getting a student residence permit. So for how long can you get the student residence permit? The answer is very easy. You can get the student residence permit until you finish your school. So the duration of the studency. So what happens if the university asks for preparation school, like you don't know Turkish and maybe the program that you have enrolled is half Turkish or not, then they might ask for a Turkish prep school. So what is going to happen? Then they are giving you a special document and the immigration office accepts that document and you can get the residence permit for 1 year, and later on, after 1 year, you can extend your student residence permit based on your studency. What can you do with the student residence permit? You can only go to the school, of course. Can you work with the student residence permit? The answer is no, you cannot work with student residence permit. However, you have the possibility to apply to work permit, and you can get a work permit to work in Turkey. I'm going to tell you a secret. This is very important and no one knows about it. Student residence permit allows your husband or your wife and your children to receive residency. So this means that, like a family residence permit, you can get your family residence permit based on your studency. This is very important because I have seen many people asking help about everything, and they are students and they don't know how to get their wife in Turkey and also their children. They are staying far from their children and their wife or husband and they don't know what to do. So this is the answer. If you are enrolled to a university in Turkey and you have got your student residence permit, you can easily get for your wife or your husband and also for your children the residence permit. So let's start from the beginning to sum up. Let's say you have entered Turkey with a valid tourist visa and you have contacted to universities and one of them accepted you and you went to the university, they gave you documents to fill in, everything, and you have enrolled to a university. This can also happen, by the way, before you come to Turkey. You can get in touch with the universities and ask for the prices and everything, and you can enroll to a university before coming to Turkey. However, you can never apply to a residence permit before entering Turkey. This is also an important point. You have entered Turkey with a valid visa and you have now the entrance stamp on your passport and you have enrolled to a university. You find a place to stay. If it's a rental, you have to notarize that rental agreement and the owner of the place. The landowner has to come with you to the notary. This is also an important point on practice. Then you have every document actually. You can apply, you are ready to apply to student residence permit. How long does it take? The immigration office has legally 90 days to respond to any application of residence permits. And what about if you freeze your school? What then? What happens to the residence permit? The answer is, unfortunately, your residence permit gets cancelled. Whenever you freeze your school, the residence permit cancels. Even if you want to transfer to another school, then the residence permit gets cancelled. You have to be very careful about freezing your school or transferring your school to somewhere else. It's very complicated. For sure, you should work with an attorney, or you have to go to the immigration office and ask the agents how you can do it. And as last, I want to point out this also because it's an significant point to explain. If the immigration or the police or any government agency in Turkey finds out that you are using your student residence permit beyond its purpose, then they can cancel your student residence permit. And what else can get the student residence permit cancelled? If you have given a wrong address, the immigration office often controls the addresses that the foreigners have given to the immigration office. If you are not in the address, or if someone else is living in that address and they are stating that you are not living in that address, then your card gets cancelled. So what else? If you commit a crime or if a deportation decision is given on your behalf, then the student residence permit gets cancelled. So this was it actually. I have told everything about the student residence permit. If you need further information, you can text us on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. Thank you for watching.